Hello there and welcome back to another Flip Chart Friday. It's David Duffett here at Let the Geek Speak, and today's Flip Chart Friday session is all about practicing your presentation. And I've got a list of aspects to go through here. You might remember them as being Rudyard Kipling's 6 honest serving men that taught him all he knew. We're going to go through those as a way of talking around the subject of practice. So let's jump straight in and ask ourselves, why would we practice? Well, that's very simple, so that we can do the best job when we come to deliver the real presentation to the real target audience. If we've been through it before, then we're going to feel more comfortable with the presentation, more familiar with the material. But more than that, if we've practiced out loud, as we should, then we're going to have a very good idea of the timing, the duration of the presentation. We're also going to find out if there's any words or phrases that might sound really good in our head when we're thinking about doing it, but when we actually do it out loud, maybe they're a bit clunkier than we thought. Maybe even there's phrases that we stumble over when we try to say them, and practicing out loud will reveal those. So it's very important. There's the why. You're going to practice so you can do the absolute best job. And let me let you into a little secret. Actually, a lot of techies that need to speak in public don't do very much practicing. So if you're on a conference roster or presenting alongside a number of other presenters, you really will stand out if you put the time into practicing that you should. It's not just putting the time in, it's investing the time in practicing. Okay, let's move on to the when. When should you practice? Well, as soon as possible. The sooner you start, the more you can fit in before the actual time of delivering your real presentation to the target audience. So please start as soon as you possibly can. Then there's the where. Well, if it's a work-based presentation, do it at work, because there you're going to find people that you can present to and do your practice who are going to be able to not only give you hints and tips about your delivery, but they'll probably comment on the technical content of your presentation as well. This leads us on to the who. Just actually before we leave the where, of course you can practice at home and you can practice in all different sorts of scenarios. You could even practice when you're on the train, give the other people something to look at. Anyway, let's move on. The who. So ideally people that know about the subject matter so they can give you feedback not only about your presentation skills but about the technical things you're covering as well. However, if you can't get those valuable friendly colleagues into the room, then friends and family will do the trick. And in fact, there is an argument that says actually it's great to deliver a presentation to people that don't know the technical content, because they might raise issues that you'd taken for granted. You kind of thought, well, everybody will know this about my presentation or background information. And when you deliver it to people that just don't have an idea, then they might highlight things that you should really be covering. So the who is family and friends or colleagues. But if you can't muster people to come and watch, then you can always practice your presentation out loud. Remember, it's critical that you do it out loud and not just think about it. You can do it into your phone, because your phone will have a voice recorder or a video camera or whatever on it. Practice into your phone or into your computer and then play it back to yourself, and you can pick things up from doing that. Very, very important for you to do that. Then the what. Well, what should you practice? Well, practice doing the whole thing. However, you'll remember in other videos, and if you've not seen my other videos, you can go along to the YouTube channel called Let the Geek Speak and find the other videos there. You'll remember I talk about the beginning and the ending of your presentation being the prime time. That's when the audience's attention is naturally peaked. At the beginning, they're full of anticipation, and as you draw in and bring the presentation in for a landing, also their attention comes back up and is more focused. So use the beginning and ending and your knowledge of that attention that the audience are giving to practice the beginning and ending of your presentation even more than the rest. Also, of course, there's the aspect of nerves. And if you are somebody that has nerves, and let's face it, we all do, we all have butterflies. It's really just a case of those that can get their butterflies to fly in formation and do something positive for them. But if you are conscious that you're going to be a little bit nervy as you come out at the beginning of your presentation, then the more you've practiced that introduction, the more you can come out and just go into it, not in a bad way, but almost like being on autopilot, because you've practiced it and you understand it so well. So you can get going, and as you settle down into the presentation and your nerves kind of stabilize a bit, then you can be into your flow. But at that beginning, when there's a little bit of tension, possibly you can just go in if you've practiced it properly. So that is the what. Practice all of your presentation, but especially the beginning and the ending. And then the last aspect is how. Well, the important thing about the how is that you do it actually out loud. Practice out loud to people. Don't do it by looking at your slides and just thinking about what you're going to say. That is not a real practice. Do it out loud to people. And as I already mentioned, this is going to reveal many aspects of the presentation, and it's going to really help you be familiar with it and understand it. So there they all are, all of the aspects around practice and why it's so important. And remember this key phrase: amateurs practice until they get it right, but professionals practice until they just can't get it wrong. And when you think about all the peak performers you know of, sports people, actors and actresses, they actually spend more time practicing than they do in the delivery of what they're doing. You know, for a 90-minute football match, football players are practicing no end around that and testing out different things and trying different things, different formations and different techniques and things. So you do the same. Practice, 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 and practice again. Thank you very much, and see you next time.